What a welcome.
Welcome back. Welcome to the July 17th, 2023 meeting of the Finance Committee. Is there, gentlemen, so I hope you all had a good break, and welcome to our interim clerk.
Thank you.
Is there a motion for adoption of the agenda?
So moved. And I second.
It's a motion and a second. Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion passes. All right. Do we have minutes from the prior meeting
We do not,
at this time?
Chair, we're going to have another meeting later.
In August?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's when the minutes from the previous meeting will.
All right, so at the August 29th meeting.
Correct.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, our first item of discussion.
Yes, we have item 2023-668, fiscal year 2023 fifth budget amendment, with the recommendation that the Finance Committee review the proposed budget amendment resolution and, if applicable, acceptable, recommend that the City Commission adopt the proposed resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Madam
ma'am.
Manager.
Madam Chairwoman, thank you for convening the members. Welcome. I am going to ask Steve Arvell, he's here supported by the Budget Manager, Susan Boyd, to present this item. It is the fifth budget amendment. It is being driven primarily, Madam Chair and members, because of the receipt of infrastructure surtax dollars. As you recall, when the budget was approved back in September of 2022, the surtax had not even been approved by the voters. It was approved in November. And so with that, we've started receipts. They are in, but have not been appropriated by the commission. So the first step in that process is for us to bring that report to you, some of the things that would be associated with it. And I think also included in this amendment is receipt of some grant money for the Police Athletic League and some fleet management resources. But Mr. Varvel can go into more detail.
All right, Mr. Varvel, you want to walk us through?
Be happy to, Madam Chair, members of the Finance Committee. This is the fifth budget amendment of City Management. There are no general fund budget amendments. There's an amendment related to special revenue funds, at the exception of the Police Athletic Association Leagues, $14,400 grant for a mentoring program so that we can start that project. What generated the need is normally we do quarterly budget amendments. For this was largely the receipt of the infrastructure surtax, and in order for them to start deploying the funds that we have received, we need to actually appropriate them.
Okay.
And this represents the receipts that we have to date, and the appropriations are for projects that were previously approved by the City Commission, specifically the North Main Street resurfacing from 39th Avenue to 53rd, setting aside the 10% surtax for affordable housing land acquisition, and then the rest are all allow for the planning stages to begin in those other projects. The East Side Fire Station, the Southwest Public Safety Center, Northeast 9th Street planning, hardening of the Public Works building for hurricanes. There's an amount allocated to establish a surtax administration cost center, and then for the GFR headquarters relocation. As you know, the Waldo Road corridor is going to be redeveloped, and that building's not in very good shape to begin with. Then another $225 for GPD's property and evidence. In addition, there is some slight reallocations of some ARPA funding, one actually, and it is moving the Vision Zero Northwest 6th Street money into the Northwest 8th Avenue restriping and lane repurposing of $100,000. And finally, there is an appropriation of fleet fund balance which was always planned to be used. They just didn't know how much or when. That will accommodate the increased costs in outside parts and labor. And that should be it for fleet for the year, hopefully. So that is the summary of the projects and the reasons for this budget amendment.
Madam Chair, if I might too, as Steve mentioned, we probably would have been able to hold this budget amendment until we came back to you in August, but because of the infrastructure surtax money, we wanted to advance it so the projects and the planning around those projects could move forward. So thank you for convening today.
All right, thank you. Questions, gentlemen?
Yes.
Commissioner Willetts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question about the surtax administration. Sure. Is that figure for just the remainder of this fiscal year?
Madam Chair, Phil Mann, Special Advisor. The administrative costs, much like what happens with the wild spaces, public places, we have to hire staff and there's other expenses associated with it. So this will be for the rest of this year and will get us into next year. And then each quarterly update, when you get the quarterly budget amendments, that'll be as it is needed to continue. We're not just going to keep putting that amount of money in that fund. We had to get it started.
Okay, that's kind of what I wanted to know.
We need to hire a project manager for the buildings.
All right, so will that carry us through September 30th?
The $225,000 should carry us well into the next fiscal year.
Okay, that's what I was,
Okay.
thank you.
And then I had a question about, it's actually on the first page of our attachment here, about the Southwest 35th Place sidewalk, taking $200,000 from that and putting it into Zone C, T, and PA.
Okay, that was money received from the developer and the project was canceled, so this allows to refund the developer. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned that detail on that. My mistake.
Okay, so that just puts it back into Zone C for some potential work in the future.
Madam Chair, my understanding it is to refund the developer. They paid into that, so.
Okay. I think that's the main two questions I had. I'm excited to see that we're getting our half cent in, and we'll have some stuff to show for it, and this is pretty exciting.
And we
Thank
can
you.
keep the citizens abreast.
Yep.
All
Thank
right.
you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Book?
All right. Yeah, I had the exact same question about the surtax administration. I didn't know what that was, so thanks for asking that. Just two quick questions on the $250,000 for the GFR administration, headquarter public works. Same figure for the GPD property and evidence. It just a very brief explanation. What was that for? I don't recall at least one of the two.
So GPD has outgrown their property and evidence building, and we've made some renovations to it, but we've reached the point where it needs to be replaced. So the $225,000 for the property and evidence building is to begin the design work, as is the $225,000 for the GFR administration building. Those dollars are to begin the design work. We know that those dollars probably are not enough for us to complete the design work, but it will get us started until the next quarterly update.
Thank you. And not for an answer today, but it might be helpful at a future city commission meeting just to talk a little bit about at least that particular one. What are we doing with the GFR administration, where it'll be moved to, and what the timeline is. Maybe the next fire quarterly report or something like that.
Sure. In fact, I think we generally have updates on wild spaces and the infrastructure, and when we do that presentation to the commission, we'll make sure that we put the detail in.
All right. That was
Further
my questions, Madam
Okay,
Chair.
Mr. Mann, what's happening on Northeast 9th Street, 300,000?
So in a previous administration, the commission has asked us, Northeast 9th Street has reached the end of its useful life as far as the asphalt goes. So the previous commission asked us to not just repave it, but to redesign it and rethink Northeast 9th Street. So the $300,000 will get us started on the design work, the public meetings that we're going to have. I mean, if you're familiar with it, I don't know what the intent was when they designed that road, but it's unusually wide for what is basically a neighborhood collector street. So how can we better utilize that street and the asphalt than its existing configuration.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm wondering, one other question, Phil. While you're on Northeast 9th Street, I'm wondering if if at some point we could take a look at the roundabout on 8th Avenue right at 9th?
Well, since the segment for Northeast 9th Street goes from East University to Northeast 23rd Avenue, it's not listed on my sheet, but it should have been. It will obviously get looked at as part of the redesign.
Good, very good. Thank you.
And that was the first roundabout, one of the first roundabouts we designed, so we would do things differently, obviously, today.
Yes, it needs some, it needs to be revisited. It needs some educational tools with it.
So not for the finance committee, Madam Chair, but I remember that when that roundabout was put in, it had some safety issues too.
Yes.
In its initial thing, because it was, had a big hump and it created some problems, and you all did some work on it some years ago on there, so you're right about that one.
It needs another look-see. Thank you. All right, further questions? If not, is there a motion?
Sure, I'll move I'll move the staff recommendation on this item to accept the report and move it to the city commission.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there further discussion on the motion? Right. No one? Okay.
If I might, before you vote,
Yes?
so this item will be added to the agenda for Thursday.
Thursday.
And I believe the clerk's office is in the loop.
Yes.
Yes.
It is already on there
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
they had a placeholder.
as a draft.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you. All right, then, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you. Are there member comments? Okay, our next meeting then is August 29th at 2:30, and we will see you all then. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.